What's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are testing the Ausom Leopard off-road scooter. First impressions, just got this awesome scooter put together and it's pretty beefy. I don't know if I've ever seen a scooter quite this beefy. Look at the suspension and all of the framework here. Just make this as super rigid as it can be. It's got disc brakes over here. It's got a really nice bright light. It's got turn signals, for goodness sakes. Really nice lighting here in the back, nice LED lighting. A big deck. And then this is, whew, that is the go button. And it's pretty powerful. So I'm gonna take it out for a quick first ride and do some impressions here. This is way more scooter than I thought it was gonna be. And it is an absolute blast. Put a smile on my face because I'm a little bit picky on scooters, but this dadgum scooter goes 30 miles an hour. And being able to pass everybody, even on bikes, on a scooter, pretty darn cool. In fact, it was so fast, I'm like, I better put on my trusty X-Nito helmet. If you guys haven't seen these, I'll leave a link in the description below, but this is the X-Nito helmet specifically designed for e-bikes and e-scooters. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
I turned the power all the way down. So you are on level 1, it's 1 out of 3.
Okay.
It's fast, huh? Okay, that's level 2. How fast was that?
Right around 22.
22 miles an hour?
It goes from 19 to 22. It was over 25 and felt super fast. It's crazy.
25 and super fast.
This scooter is way better than our other one. It goes a lot faster.
Yeah, it's way more powerful, huh? On the left is the Ausom Leopard. It is taller if you look this way. It's definitely longer front to back, so the wheelbase is definitely bigger. And then if I go this direction, it is obviously the deck sits up a lot higher as well. We're about 50 inches, 49 to 50 inches from the front tire to the back tire on the Leopard. Bottom clearance, this deck sits at 6 inches of clearance, which I think is really ideal since this is supposed to be an off-road scooter. You would hope you'd see at least that much clearance. And then the deck height sits at 9 inches. Look at how much more room we have across the top of the deck from one to the other. So we're at 8 inches on the top of the deck over here. 8 versus just under 6 inches. Let's just look at the framing. I mean, this big thing is really built in a beefy way to give it as much stability and power on an off-road. We've been up here all afternoon mountain biking and taking this on all of our local mountain bike trails that are motorized approved. And we are super excited because this thing is totally cool.
It's impressive, yeah.
Okay, first let's jump into the specs of this bike. Is it even a bike? Of this scooter. And I called it a bike at first because it feels a lot like a bike. In fact, the handlebars are just about as wide as most bikes that we ride. It's got a 1,000-watt motor in the rear wheel. It is super powerful. It's got a lot of torque. Top speed is 34 miles an hour. I haven't been able to get it up that fast.
No.
I'm usually about 28 to 30 miles an hour. We'll do a lot of testing here in just a minute so you can see what all of those numbers actually look like. They advertise this as an off-road scooter, so it's got 10-inch wheels. They're 10 inches in diameter, and I think they're close to 3 inches wide. So it gives you a lot of tread so that you can handle this off-road. It does take dirt roads really nicely, as well as single track. It does have a rear shock and a nice little spot where you can put your heel and brace yourself for the torque that it has. Andrew, how do you think that it really translated as far as on the trail? How did that suspension feel?
It definitely smoothed it out, but one of these trails that we rode is pretty bumpy and like you can't change how bumpy the trail is.
So is it smoother than your mountain bike?
No, absolutely not. But it's definitely a lot smoother than I was expecting.
Okay. The main handlebars can be adjusted to 3 different heights. So if I've got my youngest son to my oldest son, it's adjustable for all of them. A couple really cool safety features that this scooter has. It's got lights front and back. It's got turn signals. It's got a brake light for when you hit the brakes, and it's got a horn. So it's got just about all the safety features that I want. And on top of all that, it's got disc brakes. I felt like this thing stops fast.
It stops pretty dang fast, yeah.
It's got front and back disc brakes. They're cable activated disc brakes, not hydraulic, but I would say they are really, really powerful. I also saw you do an endo on this. The
Yeah.
brakes are so powerful, you were able to endo. However, these are flipped more like European rather than Americans. That really means that the right brake is the front and the left brake is the back. And so that's just a little backward from the way most bikes are in the US. You can easily make that adjustment in your head. It's not super hard to work with. So we've taken this off-road, we've taken it all over in town, we've put a lot of miles on it. Let's go over some of our lessons learned as we've ridden this in some pretty rugged conditions.
The throttle is super sensitive so that like the second you put your finger on it, it jumps forward, which isn't how I would like it because if I press it a little bit, I want it to move a little bit.
So you want it to be more of a variable speed so it doesn't throw you off the back.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of settings you can adjust in the computer. You can change it from miles to kilometers. You can change the max speed, and you can change the torque settings as well. So you can figure out how much torque you want it to give at the beginning. So that's probably just a setting that we need to adjust on our own.
When I rode over a curb or a cattle guard, the curb would come up and stop me right as it hit the back tire. It threw me forward because I had so much momentum, and it threw my stomach into this key which sticks out so much, and like the computer.
The dangerous thing is if you hit that the wrong way, you could potentially shear that key right off and break it off in the keyhole. Foldability. How easy is this thing to fold?
Pretty easy. I feel like it's easier than our other scooter.
It's seriously this easy. You unscrew, pull the knob, fold it down. We've been taking this thing off of jumps all day. We've been zipping up and down the dirt roads, up and down the roads in our neighborhood. This scooter, I've talked to multiple people, it's more powerful and faster than the Bird scooters that you can rent in town. And probably about the same size, maybe a little bit bigger. So let me go through some of the features and we'll give it a grade. And I'm gonna give it a grade and you're gonna give it a grade. We're gonna use American letter grades because that's the teacher in me. First of all, let's start with assembly. Assembly was so stupid easy that all I had to do was unfold it, lock it in place, and mount the handlebars with these 4 screws, just like I would any bike. So I give it an A. I mean, it was really easy to put together. Safety features, first of all, you've got the front and back disc brakes, and you've got all of the lights. I have been super pleased with everything except for I don't think there's enough light. I am always gonna hammer home how important lights are, especially when my kids are riding these around and it gets dark earlier this time of year and they're commuting in town. I really want them to have a lot more light. So I'm gonna give this a B+ on lights. There are lots and they are bright. I just wish there was a lot more.
Well, I might even do a little bit higher than that because of all the things you said, but I think it's more built for a mountain scooter rather than a commuting scooter. They didn't design it for commuting, they designed it to ride on a mountain, which you're not really gonna be doing in the dark anyway.
Okay, that's fair. I wanna talk about security. I didn't see a passcode on this computer, so there's no passcode, it's all key activated. And so you put the key in and out. That's really the only thing that I see here for security. However, there is this big frame here, and you can put a cable through that if you got the right kind of cable. Like these holes are still a little small. And I see some other spots where I might be able to get a bike lock or something into. So I'm gonna say as far as security goes, I'm gonna give it a B also. I would love to see like a passcode on the computer, maybe a Apple Find My, or something that allows me to track this scooter a lot better, just in case it was stolen.
I'd probably say about the same, maybe a B+.
All right, let's talk about performance. This is where this scooter shines. The performance, I was blown away. As soon as I got on it, it threw me back. I was holding on for dear life. I couldn't believe it hit 30 miles an hour as fast as it did. I think the 1,000-watt motor in here is exactly the kind of motor. If you're a guy and you want a real scooter that's gonna get you places quickly and feels like it's got enough power, almost Tesla-like power, this scooter really fit the bill for me. I give it an A+.
Yeah, for performance, I'd probably say it's about an A.
The power of the 1,000-watt motor, I'd give that an A.
Yes.
It is definitely powerful.
It's very powerful.
Performance off-road. This is where I'm gonna be a little bit more nitpicky. I wish the tires were bigger.
I kind of think the same, because if you're riding it on gravel, the tires like kind of sink into it a little bit and like you get really wobbly.
Yeah.
And it's just a little scary.
I think you'd have more stability and you'd have better rollover power if those tires were sitting at 12 or 15 inches in diameter. And I know that's super rare and I haven't seen it in any other scooter, but that's one thing I would love to see, is just a slightly larger in diameter wheel, not necessarily wider this way. So as far as performance goes, I felt like it's pretty stiff. It handles the suspension pretty nicely. Even on our drop test, I was like, oh, that suspension is moving. It's doing quite a bit. It just, because you're in an upright position, you're standing, and you've got your hands here, like you probably feel a lot of it in the handlebars. And so I'm gonna say off-road performance, I'm gonna give it an A-, because number one, I think they could do better. But number two, I haven't seen anybody else that's doing better.
Yeah.
So that's why I think I'm gonna keep them at an A. And I give it an A because it's awesome.
Yes. It's so weird. When I saw you riding it around in the dirt parking lot, I could see the suspension working. I saw like the tires moving a little bit, but I didn't really see your feet moving that much. So it's definitely working.
Last one we're gonna give it a grade on today is value for the money. Now this scooter sells for about $1,000. That's double or triple what some scooters are out there. The question I have for you, Andrew, is this double or triple the machine that some of those scooters are?
I think it is, honestly. It's really impressive. And on none of those scooters can you take those on a trail.
It's basically triple the power. Most of those scooters are 250 to 350 watt motors. This is 1,000.
Yeah, that's a huge difference.
Yeah. Next thing we're gonna rate is going to be range. We're gonna take you along with us. Right now, we're gonna go do a full on-road test.
We're about to get to the steepest part of the whole thing. Even on our mountain bikes, Dad and I can only go about 4 miles an hour up this thing. This is about where the e-bike died on our last test. It's definitely slowing down, and there we go. This is where the paved section ends. We are at 16.9 miles. We're gonna turn around and go as far as we can. Okay, 22.7 miles in. We've been going for an hour and 7 minutes. Okay, I've noticed a significant decrease in speed, and when I'm going, the battery doesn't have any bars and is just flashing. I can still go 20 miles an hour though. That's 24 miles. I have 0 battery bars. The battery is just flashing at me, but it's still going. So let's just keep riding it. We were riding for 1 hour and 16 minutes, went 25 miles, max speed. I was able to hit 32 when we were at a full charge back in town.
Okay.
Cumulative elevation gain, 1,300 feet. I felt like it was very comfortable, even though I was riding for that long. The suspension definitely helps. My hands weren't like getting numb or vibrating or anything from them being on the handlebars for so long. I felt like it was pretty comfortable all around.
25 miles, full speed, turbo mode. And the battery, the horn still works. He's got a little bit of charge left again. He just had to let it sit for a minute.
Yeah.
Ability to jump on it.
Ooh, jump ability.
I've taken it on little bumps here and there, and I can get off the ground. Not crazy high.
Bumps or jumps?
We haven't really ridden it on a ton of jumps.
You've kind of made jumps out of some bumps.
Yes, I have. And I can get off the ground, not crazy high, but high enough where it's impressive. So I'm gonna give it a B+.
It's definitely not a trick scooter, okay? It's not one of these little
No.
trick scooters you would take to the bike park. It weighs like 20 times what one of those weighs.
Definitely.
But for riding up here in the mountains, I think it's totally capable.
Yeah, agreed.
I totally like it. I hope you guys enjoyed this review of the Ausom Leopard. It is a really cool machine for us in our little toy bin that we're gonna keep around the house for a little while. We're gonna take it with us on some outdoor trips. It's a really nice thing if you're going in an RV and you want something to scoot around the campsite with. I think this is actually really nice because it folds up nice and small, fits in the camper, fits in the back of the truck, fits in the back of the SUV, and honestly goes just about anywhere you could take a dirt bike. If you guys found this fun, interesting, or useful, please give it a thumbs up. We'll see you next time. Hey guys, Dave the editor here. We just had something else happen to this scooter that we have to tell you about before we let you go. We ended up with a flat tire on the back side of this scooter, and we learned the hard way that a tire on a scooter is not easily changeable yourself. In fact, The tubes are a little harder to find. We did find some on Amazon. I should mention that the guys over at Ausom Scooters offered to send an extra inner tube over with some instructions on how to change it. But what I learned is that these tires just do not come off without really big tire levers. Thankfully, our local bike shop came to the rescue. They've got all the right tools. As soon as we get the inner tube shipped over, they're gonna get that changed out for us. But I think it's important that everybody know these scooters are not serviceable easily on your own. When you get a technical problem as simple as a flat tire, it does end up becoming a little bit more of a problem than what you might find on a bike that you could just change yourself. So anyway, when it comes to maintenance on a scooter like this, I'm gonna give it a lower score just because of this little thing, but the nice thing is it is fixable. So there you have it.